so that I can redefine power.
Alright guys, so I got a chance to watch Fate with the Furious. I watched it in IMAX. I'll tell you all about it in a second, like the IMAX experience and all that, but first let's get on to the review of the actual film. So for the plot in this movie, we basically have Dominic Toretto that turns his back on family. He betrays them due to the villain named Cypher, who is played by Charlize Theron in this movie. So what they do is they get the villain from Furious 7, Jason Statham, and they make him team up with the Furious gang to get Dominic Toretto back. The plot is definitely ridiculous in some way, but for a Fast and the Furious movie, it just really works because anything is possible up to this point in this franchise. If you could have cars flying out from a plane, then anything can happen in these movies. F. Gary Gray directs this installment in the franchise, which is kind of weird because he recently got off Strata Compton in 2015 and now he's directing a really big budgeted film, and I think he does really well in this movie. I kind of really hope that he directs the next two installments because I just really like his direction. I like the way he was going with this movie. Vin Diesel, The Rock, Ludacris, Tyrese Gibson, Michelle Rodriguez, they all do very good in this movie like they usually do in these Furious movies. But a really big applause to Jason Statham, who I liked him more in this movie than I liked him in Furious 7. He was badass. His character was just so awesome in this movie. And of course, Charlize Theron, who I thought is the best Fast and Furious villain we have gotten. She is menacing. She is very, she has so many threats in this movie. It's just, unbelievable. I just really dug her as the villain. The action scenes were really fun to watch. In fact, the whole movie was fun to watch. There was not 1 minute where I was bored in my seat because this movie definitely finds a way to entertain you, whether it's with some funny dialogue or with some really fun action scenes. My favorite scene in this movie, definitely the best scene in this movie, is the prison scene with Dwayne Johnson and Jason Statham. It's just so much fun. They blast that song from the first trailer really loud in IMAX, and they're just beating the shit out of other prisoners. It's just so much fun to watch. It's glory at its best. Sure, the action is really ridiculous, like over the top ridiculous, but it's a Fast and Furious movie and I already expected this. I really liked the addition of Scott Eastwood, but it felt like they were replacing Scott Eastwood, or Paul Walker with Scott Eastwood. But I still think that he was good in this movie, and I'm excited to see him in the next two movies. Now, one thing that really brings this movie just a little bit down is really the writing in this movie, because it's just kind of clunky. Some of the dialogue is just bad in this movie, and it works sometimes, but sometimes it's just bad, and you just start cringing sometimes. It just kind of brings down the movie a little bit, but it's still fun to watch. Now on to the IMAX experience. The IMAX experience was phenomenal. It was very impressive. The sound mixing sounded really good with the IMAX speakers, and it just transferred really well into the huge 60-foot screen. A movie like this should be experienced in the big scale that IMAX offers, with all these ridiculous action scenes and loud scenes. It's just so much fun to watch in IMAX. I'm not even exaggerating, but it was really loud where the walls were shaking, and it was just, it's an experience. It's called the IMAX experience for a reason. So for that, I'm gonna say that the IMAX is definitely worth it. So definitely go out your way and see this in IMAX before Guardians of the Galaxy 2 plays in IMAX. But overall, onto my final score for this movie. This movie was a blast from beginning to end. It does have its writing problems, but this is me not being biased, or I'm never biased, to be fair. I like to make my reviews as they are, as the movie actually is, and just because this is a Fast and Furious movie, I'm not gonna give it points just because it's Fast and Furious movie. I'm not biased. I'm judging this completely off the actual film, and this movie was just enjoyable. It was just so much fun to watch. I think that the actual movie also was really good with the good story, the really good villain, and the characters. Like I said, some of the writing isn't always so good, but I'm definitely gonna say that Fate of the Furious is definitely a full price worthy, and that's why I'm gonna give it a B plus. I really recommend this movie. Especially if you're such a big fan of these movies, or if you really enjoy these movies, you'll really dig the hell out of this movie. Uh, it's probably my second or third favorite Fast and Furious movie. I still like Fast 5 as the best Fast and Furious movie ever made, and I don't think Furious 9 or Furious 10 could beat that. But anyways, did you guys see Faded the Furious? Have you guys seen it? Tell me what you guys thought about it. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later.